what I notice is a lot of people have a lot of clutter in their mind around closing, and they are worried about, and I don't ever believe in pressuring people, and maybe situationally appropriate. However, most of the time, if you've, as you've said, asked the right questions and done the right things, you won't need to pressure people. They'll effectively close themselves.
Pressuring doesn't work that well.
It doesn't.
It's a numbers game at that point.
People go cold overnight if you
There's
do
a
that.
different, and I'll come back to that saying,
Yep.
what you're going to ask. This is really important. There's a difference between externally pressuring a prospect and triggering internal tension where they feel so much tension where it drives them to change and change now.
Yeah.
That's the difference and remember, I said there's levels to this ball game we call sales. Once you learn that skills, you're up here at these levels compared to everybody else, like numbers game and down here.
Yeah, well, down there's like pressure and hard sell and do whatever you can to get the agreement signed.
Numbers game.
And then up there's like emotionally leading people on a journey to make a decision.
Yeah, where it's like it's easy. It's like
it's more
I'm
fun.
more about preventing objections in their mind, because objections are not something that are planned out by the prospect. It's something that you're triggering by triggering uncertainty.
Yeah.
And when you trigger uncertainty, that's why people procrastinate. That's why they don't move forward.
So what do you think you need to do in the sales process to create more certainty? So I've got this belief that if you can answer all of your prospects' potential questions before they answer them, then you'll have a really high level of certainty from them, because you obviously...
How do you know your prospects know what questions to ask you, though?
Well, there's probably generic ones for each industry.
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah.
But now, here's one thing I would caution on that, because they're going to know some questions to ask, but maybe they don't know all the questions they should be asking you. So there's some things there, because most prospects don't really know what they need when you first start talking to them. And most salespeople are notoriously bad to selling to a prospect's needs. How many people knew, like Steve Jobs said it best, like nobody knew they needed an iPhone before it came out.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden they did, because people buy more on what they want, not what they need.
And then they justify it.
And they justify it. Okay. So it's triggering emotional drivers, because let's say that if a prospect, if you said like, hey, what are some challenges you're having with selling the property or whatever for your industry? And they're like, oh, the last agent didn't do this. And you're like, oh, well, we're better. This is the way we do it. And that's all you sell on. Like, you're not really building much of a gap from where they are compared to where they want to be. So what I want to do is I can expand on that as one problem, but I want to help that prospect find 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 other problems they didn't realize they had. And that builds such a big gap that even if they feel like I can solve this one problem myself, they're like, there's no way I can solve the other 4. They have to go with you.
Okay.
You see the difference there?
Yeah.
So
but most salespeople just sell on like, they're like,
One.
what are some challenges you have? And they'll say one and they'll sell to
They're
that.
like, this is how I can fix that.
I need to help them find 4 or 5 other problems too, because then they just view you as the expert. Like, this person knows my business. They know me better than I know myself.
So it's like your ability to articulate your clients' problems will increase their certainty in you being the solution.
Yes, help get the problems out of their mind that maybe they haven't even thought about or considered.
Yeah.
And my questions allow them to be like, oh shit, I never even thought about that. We have that same issue.
And you do that through the problem awareness phase.
Situation questions as well, because I'm helping them understand what their real situation is, because most prospects don't understand what their real situation is. And most salespeople will ask a question and the prospect will be like, oh, I don't know, I haven't thought about it. And then they'll just go on to the next question and they didn't find out their situation.
So like, hang on, like, why haven't you thought about it?
Or I might say, well, if you really thought about it, what would it be? And that's just a follow-up question to that, where pretty much every brain is forced to think about, well, if you really thought about it, what would it be? Well, and then their head will go up like this or go down like this, and it forces their brain to think about it.
Interesting.
You really can't
Are you
come
watching what if the brain goes up or down? Does that tell you different?
Not necessarily.
No.
No. I mean, you got to be careful with body language. I'm really good friends with Mark Bowden. He's a body language expert. If you've ever heard of him, he's a great guy. I had him on a show about 6 months ago. If you look on YouTube, he's got a YouTube channel with Chase Hughes, an FBI negotiator, and some other FBI. It's called the Behavioral Channel. There's like millions of views of every show on that, but they analyze like people like that are in courtrooms, if they're lying or telling the truth, or they'll analyze politicians, the way they move in to like shake hands, like President Trump will like come out here and like try to like, pull you in like this. And so, somebody trained Justin Trudeau. This is back in the Trump administration. They showed me this is really amazing. They trained Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, when Trump comes out, move in quick and like grab him like this and put your left hand on his shoulder. It'll like interrupt his pattern. And he did it beautifully. I don't get into political beliefs, but I just love watching communication styles. I'm like, oh my gosh, that was really good what he did there.
Interrupt his pattern?
Huh? He interrupted Trump's pattern because Trump like wants to bring you out here and
Assert
like pull
dominance.
you in, dominate you. So he wants to. So psychologically, every president's different, right? So everybody has their weaknesses and strengths. And nobody's perfect, but psychologically, Trump wants to dominate you. Like he's a billionaire, right? He's like high status. He wants to show you he has higher status than you. So how does somebody like Justin Trudeau show him that he has at least equal status? Okay, that's one thing by not letting Trump dominate, pull you in.
So
like
he
you're a little
controlled the
kid.
handshake.
So Trudeau controlled the handshake. So instead of like when Trump was coming out here like this, Trudeau moved quick, went in like this, and got like real quick, went like this and grabbed his hand and put his hand on his left shoulder like this to show him like I'm your equal status.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? It's status framing. Yeah.
Status frame.
There you go. Rank framing, authority framing. I know, weird stuff.
And
You guys are
status
like,
framing.
what? These guys are crazy.
How would that
Yeah.
play out in a sales role?
It just depends on the
Pattern
context.
interrupt.
Give me a context.
Would you be using pattern interrupts through the process?
Sure. So let's say if I'm cold calling, I'm a real estate agent. Now, I'm not sure how you guys do it here, but like, and I know we train real estate agents here because I know we have clients. They make tweaks and stuff. But in America, so we would, let's say you're cold calling expired listings. Okay. What would the average, you guys do that? Do you cold
My
call?
favorite.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
What do you guys say? Like words out of your mouth, first words out of your mouth. They answer, hello.
Hey, Jeremy, it's Hannon. Mate, I've been watching your property very closely. I know it's been on the market for some time. I'm curious, has it sold?
Yeah. Okay. And they typically would say what?
No, it hasn't.
And you say?
Okay, no worries, mate. I'm really concerned. I've been watching it quite closely. It's a beautiful home. It seems to be priced well. What seems to be going on there?
Yeah. What do they say then?
And then they'll usually blame the agent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, rather than take responsibility for either their price or their marketing being incorrect.
Yeah.
And then
That's better
I'll
than
then
most that I've ever
leverage
heard.
that into an appointment.
Yeah. Okay. Good. So typically, when we do that for real estate agents, we have them print off the expired listings.
Yep.
Okay. So and we have them like have the papers in their
paper.
hands because it's a pattern rub. Just hearing papers. Okay. And so when they answer the phone, yeah, is this John? Yeah, John. Hey, it's Jeremy. Jeremy Miner with XYZ. I'm holding a copy of the expired listings in my hand on your home at 55 Willow Lane. I was wondering if you could help me out for a moment. And like, sure.
Wow.
It's just a pattern interrupt because I'm holding it
and ruffling.
holding a copy.
And why are they making sure they can hear the paper
Yeah.
through the phone as well?
Because it's a pattern
That's
interrupt.
great. I love that.
They're like, what does he have in his hand? It says pattern interrupt.
What am I missing
It's
here?
interrupting the pattern. I'm interrupting the pattern of what they think's going on. Okay?
Real estate agent buy,
now,
hang up.
let's say if they're like an investor calling let's say a home that's about to go into foreclosure in America, that's a big industry we train as well. We would have them print off the property tax records of the home. Really hard to hang up and like have a copy of the. Yeah, is this John? Yeah, John. Hey, it's James. James Miller. I'm holding a copy of your property tax records on your home there at 50. I think it's a 55 Willow Lane property there. I wonder if you could help me out for a moment. They don't know if you're a clerk. They don't know if you're from the government. Holding a copy of the property tax records. It's like because in America you can go print off property tax records in every county.
Why are you asking the question? I'm wondering if you could help me out. What's that doing?
I'll show you next.
Okay.
It's just a panel up. They're like, sure, how can I help you?
Yeah.
Because you're asking a question. You don't want to just do a statement and then pause. And they're like, who is this? Like because you're triggering resistance.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to push them away a little bit. I might say, well, I'm not even sure if it makes sense for us to talk. So I'm pushing them away. I've got it. Like, I can't sound like I'm going in to sell them. I've got to
does that when
push them away a little bit. Like I'm detached. Okay. Well, I'm not even sure if it makes sense to talk. I represent, now let's say if it's on the wholesale side, like investor side, then I'll show you the one for real estate. I'm not even sure if it makes sense. And the whole time I'm looking at the papers, crinkling the papers, like I'm reading the papers. So I'm slowing down. You don't sound like a typical salesperson is trying to talk fast, right? Because you're always taught to talk fast on a cold call. So your prospects, the guard's always up, right? You're triggering fight or flight mode. So I'm like, yeah, I'm not even sure if it makes sense for us to talk. I represent a group of 5 buyers, and they're looking to purchase. I think it's like 4 or 5 different properties there, like in your 4-block area. And after they had me look at like the property size and the lot and what you had it listed before, they had me reach out to see if you guys would be, I don't know, like opposed to having a brief conversation about maybe selling the property. Would you guys be against talking about that?
Are you asking that to get a no because it makes them feel more safe?
Chris Voss style.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, it's great. I love
Well,
that.
social dynamics.
Yeah.
So I'm friends with Chris. So I've spoken on a lot of stages with Chris. He's a great guy. But Chris would have learned that from social dynamics.
Social
so
dynamics.
you're just little things that you're taught, like behavioral patterns, how to interrupt. Some of it comes from NLP as well, where you're taught that it's actually in a lot of contexts better to get the prospect to say no because it leads to the yes.
Yeah.
Now, in that context though,
And
right,
no feels a lot more
it
emotionally
feels
safe for them, doesn't it?
especially on a cold call.
Yeah.
So on a cold call, I'm trying to get them to say no. I might say like fundraising. Are you against letting them take back the White House this year? No, I'm not. I'm not going to let that happen. Like it's just like against. Are you opposed? Would it be a
Would you
crazy
be adverse
idea?
to?
If I was to
Like would it be
start
completely unrealistic? There's just different things like that. Yeah.
would you be against me starting a cold call as, hey, Jeremy, it's just Dan here. Have I caught you at a bad time?
I would be because that's what most salespeople do.
See.
Because
And
they're going to be like, well,
the sales
who is
radar
this?
goes off, doesn't it?
Who is this? What's
Yeah.
going on? And instantly the guard's up. Okay.
Yeah.
Now notice what I did there. Very important. The very first words when I introduced myself, I said, it's James, James
Tonality
Miller.
goes right up.
Yeah.
What tone does that sound like?
Familiarity.
We know each
So
other.
the whole time the prospect's brain is, who is this? Who is this? Sounds
How do I
familiar.
know you?
Yes, they're not going to say, who is this? Because it's rude. They feel like embarrassed.
And they're trying to work it out,
Yes.
but you've interrupted the pattern.
I've interrupted the pattern by the familiar tone. But if I'm like, hey, is this John? Hey, James. John, it's James Miller with XYZ Company.
Fine.
I'm holding a copy of, sounds like a salesperson, sounds like a telemarketing. So the pattern sounds the same in their brain. So their survival part of their brain has built up, human beings, we built up defensive mechanisms that anytime we feel like we're being sold to, because we're constantly marketed and sold to all the time. TV ads, social media ads, radio ads, billboards, you're being sold to, you walk by the mall, you're sold to all the time. So we built up defensives in our brain, survival part of our brain, that when we feel we're being sold to, we instantly go service level and like fight or flight mode. So I'm interrupting that pattern. I'm making sure it doesn't happen in their brain. So their guard's down. Guards down, way easier to sell than the guards up, because now you're competing against the guard coming down. I'm like, just do it where the guard stays down. And when I always talk about the ABDs of selling, always be disarming, always means always. Like you're always keeping their guard down. It's not at the beginning. I'm always keeping the guard down.
You can go up at a moment's notice, can't it?
You could say the one wrong word,
Game over.
wrong tone, get defensive, and it's over.
Can you recover?
Huh?
Can you recover from the point where the guy
Sure,
comes up?
you can.
But
it's
it's
just going to be
hard.
more of a numbers game because you're not going to be able to recover with everybody, most people. And I'm not saying I sold 100% of prospects, but was there a reason why in every industry I sold typically 10 times what even good salespeople sold? Yeah, because I understood these type of techniques.
I want to go back to something that you mentioned at the start. For the first couple of years of 7th level, it was just you and your assistant.
Yeah.
So you were grinding it out, right? Obviously doing the work. You obviously had a vision of what the business was going to be.
Sure.
What did you keep telling yourself through that period to make yourself keep going and not decide, hey, this is too hard?
Yeah, I'd always go back to, you ever seen that Kevin Costner show, Field of Dreams? If you build it, they will come.
Yep.
It's an American thing. You're the baseball.
Yep.
You're the cornfield.
Yep.
If you build it, they will come. That was always in the back of my mind. If you build it, they will come. That's what I was thinking. It takes a while. Look, I was disappointed the first year and a half before really anybody knew who we were because I was so successful in my sales career. I'm just like, well, of course, it's going to translate into business.
Maybe
but
not.
it's a lot different. For a couple of organizations I was in, I became the vice president of sales for the whole company. These are big firms, chief sales officer. That's completely different
To your own
than actually
business.
owning the business and running it. Completely different. Now we have CEO, we have all those people that run all the business. I don't really do a lot in there, right? I'll jump in here and there with like recruiting. If we need like a big fish or something we're trying to recruit or something, I'll jump in there. But for the most part, I'm sticking to the new content, more sales training. We have like 37 different sales training programs. I'm creating a master's course in cold calling right now, so there's always things that I'm working on, keynotes and, podcasts. And so it keeps you busy.
Yep.
How has the difference between owning a business and being a master at sales prior, how's that shifted your fulfillment levels? Or has it not?
Shifted my fulfillment levels. These are really engaging questions, gentlemen. I like this. How has it fulfilled my...
Because from my perspective, if you're killing it as a salesperson to then start a new organization from the bottom, like surely that would take an impact on your life quality.
Yeah. I mean, to me, to change the way sales is perceived, I can't do that if I'm just a salesperson, right? But if I have an impact, we just got a stat the other day that we control about 8.3 to 8.5% of all the business to consumer market in the world now, as far as the sales trainers, which is a lot.
And how long into the business?
We've been about 5.5 years.
Wow, that's
but
great.
a lot
Well
of it
done.
has been just our social media presence, really since 2022. That was the first time I did a reel. I didn't even have an IG account until January 2022. My oldest daughter, Cammie, she's like, yeah, Dad, you should do these reels on IG. I'm like, what's IG? She's like, Instagram. I'm like, oh, Instagram. I was like, I don't have an account. She's like, well, you just do these reels and stuff. And she's like, you'll go viral. That's what she told me. I'm like, oh, okay. And that's literally where we got even, probably 10 times bigger. 2022, 2023, now 2024. Yeah. You might not even heard about me 3 years ago.
I did.
Oh, did you?
I saw the first couple.
You're there. First couple. There you go. But, it takes time, and it takes, you have to have the right team. And as you get bigger and bigger and bigger, you have more cash flow to bring in people that are maybe more talented, but you still have a lot of your core people that move with the business. Like they gain more skills, they develop as well, and they move up in the ranks as well that have been with you from the very beginning. And that's exciting to see. It's only the ones who never want to learn anything, never want to grow. And they eventually, when I worked for my first corporate career when I was in door-to-door sales, with a company called Vivint. They're really, really big in America. Like the Utah Jazz basketball team play in the Vivint Center. So it's a huge alarm company now. And the CEO at that time, Todd Peterson, they've been bought up by Blackstone now. I think it's Blackstone. Would always tell us like that, when you start your business, it's like a train station, right? You're going to have a certain people on board with you when you start. And then you're going to go a little bit of ways. You're going to have a stop. And there's going to be some of those original people that get out. They're going to go do something different. Maybe they don't like you anymore. Maybe they have a different vision or dream. There's going to be new people that come on board. And then you're going to go a little bit more. And there's going to be another stop. And there's going to be some people that get out of the train. And then some new people that come on board. Maybe they're even better at that position. And it just goes all the way to the very end. And he's like, you'd be surprised at people you thought were just going to be with you that were at the very beginning. Sometimes don't necessarily make it to all the way to the end. It just never know. So it's kind of an interesting thing as you grow your business, because we have close to 200 people on the team now.
200
employees.
people. Where would you like to take it?
Where would I like to take it as far as
size, revenue, goals?
We're already the largest business to consumer sales training company in the world based on annual revenues. Not grandma saying it. Thank you, Grandma. But based on annual revenues, we're the largest B2C sales training company, and we're ranked third overall largest between B2B and B2C. So we're pretty well already up there, but we're going to take that much larger. However, we're also getting into other avenues like staffing and recruiting. It's a big space that we train in, and we have millions of followers that are salespeople. We have hundreds of thousands of individual salespeople clients that have been through our advanced courses. We have an email list of like 1.3 million salespeople. So we have a lot of assets where companies are already coming to us, offering to pay for certified salespeople that have gone through our programs to get placed with them.
Smart.
We just don't have the foundation set up and the right people to run that yet, but that's something that will roll out in 2026. So that'll be a lot of the biggest recruiting agencies in America anyways are doing 5 to 10 billion a year in revenue.
5 to 10 billion.
Yeah, there's no sales training company that does that.
Do you see yourself as that being a goal for you?
It'll be a back end that we'll have with the company. The front end will always be sales training.
Yeah.
But it just makes sense.
To cross-sell.
Companies are already coming to us. We have hundreds of companies every month that come to us right now.
For sure.
We don't have it organized enough to, because in the way it works in America is like each salesperson, it's a percentage of like their base salary plus overall average commission for like a year. There's a percent of that. So it might be 25 to 35,000 per salesperson that's placed, a good salesperson. So it can be a big space, but it'll be more on the back end thing. The front end will always be the sales training for sure.
Do you have, what would success look like for you? Is there an ultimate revenue evaluation? How do you know when you
our first major evaluation is to be evaluated as $1 billion organization.
$1 billion?
Yeah, for sure.
Sounds like a good number. Why not 5 billion?
That's just the first. So there might be an exit plan to sell a portion of the business. We'll never sell the majority of the business because I'll always keep it in my family and stuff like that. But there might be a play there in a little bit, probably 5 years down the road to sell some of the organization.
Sounds like a pretty good
number.
number.
Not the majority though. And it's my baby. Yep.
Awesome. Do you see yourself 7th level up? Has your skill level over the last 5.5 years owning the business increased as you've been teaching?
God, I would hope so. Yeah.
Or do you feel like
I would hope so?
Like
that could
because
be trouble
you've been doing it
in
for so long. Do you feel like the progression at which you upskill is still there, or is it kind of?
I'm always learning. Like if you talk to anybody in my company, they know that I'm always learning. So I still go through sales training programs every month, probably 5 a month. Oh, for
5
sure.
a month?
Yeah, for sure.
Who are you learning from now at your point in your career?
I learned more, like when I was in sales, I learned from a lot of sales trainers, but it was more like tonality and body language experts.
Like Brian
and
Tracy
more
and things like
psychologists.
that,
I know
or-
Brian. I mean, Brian was the first seminar I ever went to. Good friends with Brian. I pretty much, I know all those guys. There might be some things that I'll read. Let's say if I read a Brian Tracy book, or I'll go through one of his programs, and I might find something like, oh, I really, really like that. If I just shifted the tone there into more of a concern tone, and then changed around this word and this word to make it more neutral, because it's a little bit too early to be assumptive, I think it'll work a little bit better for what I do.
So you're fighting for the inches now.
That's what selling is.
Yeah.
It's like any sport, right? Like, what's your favorite sport to watch? What's your favorite sport?
Wrong person. I don't watch any.
Let's say basketball.
Yeah. So basketball, fighting for inches, right?
Yeah.
You can make the shot or miss it by half inch. It's the same thing in selling. You can make the sale or not by little inches, little things, little nuances that you just haven't learned yet. You know, how do you pace out your questions?
Yeah.
Where the prospect, it hits them more emotionally and gets them to internalize what you're asking instead of talking really fast all the time. So most salespeople ask questions so fast, it gives the prospect no time to internalize what they ask, and they get a knee-jerk surface level answer. But that's the salesperson's fault because they ask a question too fast. So how do you verbal pace the question out and pause right before a few words you want their brain to focus on? That's a nuance, right? Oh, so for you, why is that so important to you now, though? That is the word I want you to focus on. Because I said, why is that so important? And then I verbal paused. So important to you now, though. Or I could say the same question. Well, for you, why is that so important to you now, though? And now your brain focuses on, why do I need to do this now? That's a nuance, right? I said the same exact words, same question. I just verbal paused and focused on 2 different words. And your brain will think of 2 different things now because I can control that by how I verbal paced it out. That's a nuance that you want to learn.
So let's take it back a moment
Yeah.
for people that aren't in a stage of their career where they're learning the little nuances because they've got to build the fundamentals. And when you're starting a career in sales or business, it's not just learning the skill or the art of sales, but also personal development takes place where you'll read the Tony Robbins, you'll go to the events. Out of everything you can do, whether it be personal development, learning sales techniques, actually putting in the work, what would be the foundation you'd tell people to start?
I would go to, if you're in sales, you need to learn sales skills first because the personal development stuff is great. Meditating's great, writing your journal is great, all that stuff's great, but it's not going to help you sell more.
No.
It's the words you use.
You need a skill set.
It's the questions you ask. It's how you use your tone that causes the prospect to either let their guard down or stay guarded. All the mindset stuff is great, but it's not going to help you sell more when the prospect says hello. If you don't know what to say or ask, let's say your cold calling approach works 10 times better than another person that goes to every Tony Robbins event, but when they talk too fast. They don't know the right words to say on the cold call and they get hung up. Where does your confidence level go? Back down to where your skill level is.
Back down.
People always ask me, how do I gain more confidence as a salesperson? I'm like, you gain more skill level. But how can you gain more confidence in anything
if you don't have the skill?
If you don't have the skill.
Competence.
That's like asking a neurosurgeon, how do I get better at brain surgery? You learn how to do it better. You see, it's the same question because when you're selling a lot, where's your confidence go?
Right up.
High level. But when you're not selling that much because you don't have skill level, you can get pumped up every day. You can go to personal development after personal development. And I love personal development events. I'm going to a Tony Robbins event in December for 6 days. Yes. I love
David
it.
Destiny?
It's the one in December. Yeah. Me and Kayla are going. And so, but the problem with that approach is so many people think that personal development, getting pumped up is going to cause you to sell more because you're energetic and you're excited all the time. It doesn't translate into results. You're going to really go through the numbers game. You're going to burn out because you have to work crazy hours just to make a living. Whereas if you learn the skills, you could reduce your hours and make 5 times more and actually be happy about it because your brain, human beings are not built to take rejection. And it doesn't matter how many sales trainers say, get thicker skin, get tougher with objections. Human beings are not built for that. Let's say you're single, but go back to your single days, long time ago. Okay. Let's say you walked up to your partner at some event and she rejected you. you wouldn't like that, man. You'd be like, damn, that sucks. You wouldn't be like, I'm just going to go through numbers game. I'm going to go talk to 6 more girls. You're just not built that way. But if you had the skill level to be able to communicate with her, right? And she let her guard down, you started having a great conversation, you're seeing success, your confidence goes through the roof, right? It's the same thing in sales. Just human behavior 101, just communication in any aspect. That's why communication skills are the number one most important thing you have to learn if you want to have success in anything. Look where the average billionaire started. Not like I'm talking self-made billionaires. All sales for the most part. All sales.
So it sounds like sales and communication
same thing
is the number one
dating,
skill.
Relationships,
everything in life,
government to government. It's all about communicating. Why do wars start? Lack of communication. Don't understand each other. They each say they're evil. You know, Ukraine says Russia's evil. Russia says Ukraine's evil. Like, why? None of them view themselves as the evil person, right? Did Germany view themselves as like the evil, dictator country? No, they thought they were doing the right thing, right? That doesn't mean they weren't, but that's how they viewed themselves, right? Nobody believes that they're the evil one.
If you were starting again from zero, knowing what you know and having access to the resources and going through the learnings that you've gone through, what would be the first, let's just say, book, course, podcast, whatever, that you would lean towards to improve your sales skills?
Well, I can't say mine because that would sound really biased.
But if you could, though, what product or program would it be?
yeah, that would sound really awkward on a podcast. I think salespeople, like, most salespeople, they make the mistake of like, I'm going to learn how to sell after I get hired. And I'm just like, how does that make any sense? Like, what profession can you do that? Can you be an engineer and like go learn how to build bridges without being educated how to build bridges before? Probably not a good idea for the people driving on those bridges, right? You got to go to university. Because I always ask those people, like, how many years did you go to school for sales and persuasion?
0.
Oh, 0. Right. But think about any other profession that you can say that.
5, 6,
Lawyers,
7 years. Yeah.
Doctors, attorneys, police, military.
And
I didn't go through any schooling for how to shoot these weapons. They just dropped me off here in the middle of Afghanistan. Hopefully just duck when somebody shoots. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. But that's the reason why salespeople have the highest attrition of any industry in the world, because they're not taught how to do it until they get the job. Yeah. So even if you start studying sales 3-6 months before, and you at least have some fundamentals down, you understand basic human psychology and just a few basic questions and a few basic tonality things, and you get that job, you're going to be far better off than the person that gets hired who doesn't hardly know anything about it, because they're more than likely not going to last because they can't go through rejection, because they're going to be rejected all the time because they have no skill level, and the boss maybe is feeding them leads or something, and now they're spending too much money and they're gone. Whereas the other salesperson might have been studying sales 3 to 6 months before, more than likely you're probably going to overcome that learning curve 5 times faster and start seeing results quicker. The boss looks at you as like, wow, that's impressive. More promotions quicker. It's all on your skill level. It's fascinating to me that salespeople, if I'm going to get into sales, like I want to learn how to sell a little bit before I get my first job for sure.
Very true.
Yeah.